I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby, here with Stefania Cella, Production Designer on Moon Knight. Stefania, this show is an exquisite blend of history and fantasy, contemporary and ancient. Where do you begin with such a mammoth undertaking when you get the job to create the sets and the look and feel for Moon Knight?
Generally, when I get a script, I do photography research and try to find the look through photography. Then is, in this case, was based on some historical pictures taken in Egypt and what is the look. And then, it's a lot of research to put the worlds together. It's like a lot of visual research. I also went to Egypt, which is,
Wow.
I went to Egypt almost immediately, like a month after I got hired. I went to Egypt when I was a kid. I was like 10. So I had memories and it changed a lot, but I met Mohammed and we spent some time together. So certainly the historical part was by going there. And then the comics to me were a big inspiration because the comic itself has a very nonchalant way to move through ancient and modern. I don't know if you ever seen some of their visuals, like a pyramid on Fifth Avenue or mountain of sand in New York City. So the seamless of the comic was very inspiring. It was less scary because you see it. Because of what I do, I react to visual inspiration. And when you see a pyramid sitting on Fifth Avenue, you said, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, that's right. There was a seamlessness to it, how you were able to switch various genres and mix them and blend them all together so beautifully. When you're working on a Marvel show like this, are you given complete free rein to just push the envelope and really go big, or do you have certain constraints that you must work within to ensure consistency?
In this case, I think I was lucky enough to be given a lot of support and a lot of trust and a lot of freedom. I might say that.
Sorry.
I might say that I believe if you've fallen into a franchise that maybe has already established, a look, and I don't know if that situation would it be different, but we were the first to actually bring Moon Knight on the screen. So I was not constrained on anything in terms of this is what, this is our success in the past and this is what we want to do. I also think that I was hired probably because I do more grounded type of movie, or I used to do grounded type of movie, more realistic, more real and not. So I think I know Mohammed wanted somebody that was close to his language, like more independent filmmaking and less more location or more. We built everything, but because you don't find Alexander the Great tomb as a location. But I think that was ultimately my background also, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your background is in some really beautiful work in Italy, and then you've moved into some more genre work in Hollywood, like Downsizing and Morbius and now Moon Knight. I mean, I remember the work that you did for La Grande Bellezza for, I mean, that was a stunning piece of work and very grounded and very contemporary. So you're mixing a lot of skills that you've had in the past, but what attracts you to pushing the envelope in genre, television and film? Because it is, I think there'd be so much pressure. The fans will be unhappy if there's something that's not quite right. And so you're working with a lot of pressure with the studio and with fans, with Kevin Feige and the whole team to make sure that you're getting it right. So did you feel the pressure when you signed on?
Absolutely. That's why I read in, you know, for Morbius, there was some literature in Spider-Man. And for Moon Knight, I pick up all the comics, and I try to, even if we took another, our story is our version, but I did wanted to understand the aesthetic for sure. And there is a pressure, and there is always a pressure. You can't, I think I'm personally myself, I know that you won't please everybody. And I just have to do what I think is right for my instinct and my aesthetic, and I have to be strong and decisiveness on that. And and if you believe in that, I think there is a pressure, but also I do wanted to see if I could push myself in places that were less less safe place for me, like to see could I be in a movie that is, could I do a movie that is a superhero or completely a fantasy, because it's also a lot of fun for the art department. There is a lot of seriousness and a lot of aesthetic in a contemporary drama, because you always need to express the character, but in doing something fantastic, you can also work a little bit, with taking a little bit of reality out of it, which is interesting. It's very creative for the art department to be able to.
I can imagine.
And Egypt, how many times in your life you've been asked to do Egypt? Once, maybe.
That's it. And it's a dream.
I know, it was a dream. It was really a dream. It was really a dream. Also, Moon Knight is night. Night is a fantastic, I love a movie at night because you can work with the light. I love dark colors. And so it was a combination of, in 6 hours. So I can play for 6 hours instead of just for 2. It was really great.
So let's do a bit of a specific deep dive into some of the designs that you came up with. Do you have a favorite? Because I can immediately think about the Chamber of God. So rich, so unique, beautiful work. Talk me through that one.
That one was, we were talking about, the gods being inside the Great Pyramid, and, to enter through the Great Pyramid into these fantastic world. And then the first pass that I did, because Egypt is, one of the things that is amazing about Egypt are the scale of their monument. So we really wanted to have this scale difference between humans and God. But ultimately, when you design and you have this gigantic statue, all you see behind you is a feet. I was like, okay, that's not gonna work.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're shooting on camera, the set was, 50% built. We built, like, I don't know if you remember, but Osiris, which is the black god, that was all built. So there will be some release picture on the Art Directors Guild magazine, where you can see then was all on camera until it tilt up, and that obviously is not. But so the idea to build something on camera then is not just the ankles and feet. The idea was like, how we bring them down, but still in a magnificent way. So I thought about going through, you know, every Egyptian god has an animal related to. They are you know, described in all the hieroglyphs by animals. So besides Osiris, which is because it's a god of the afterworld, is him. That's you can, there is nothing else than it's been. Everybody else has a snake, a lioness. So how fantastic is that? You know, so I wanted to create this place where you almost enter into, you know, a dinner of monsters and creature that are like, you know, black granite and gold leaves and red stones. So that was what, that was change game for sure. Like realizing to bring them down with them and not just doing the ankles.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right.
You know, you look in picture of people standing next to a monument in Egypt, and all you can see is the feet. So it's like, it was funny. Anyway.
I never thought about that. But
Yeah.
You're right. The use of the animal imagery is so vivid. You know, Amit as well. I'm thinking also about the other, the tomb, the other set, when they when Alexander the Great is discovered as Amit's avatar back in the day. I mean, it was just the way that was shot, edited, the music, everything about it was a great moment. But I mean, if you don't mind me saying, you're the star of the show there, because we reveal something so amazing, and we have to be taken aback. It needs to be breathtaking, otherwise we're like, oh, is that Alexander the Great? Is that all it is? So what were you thinking to make it larger than life?
Well, again, research, right? So Alexander too was never found, right? It was never really found. And he was a Macedonian king, then conquer, you know, half of the world. And towards the end of his life, which he died very young, but let's say when he was, you know, like close to when he died, he conquered Egypt, and he wanted to be a pharaoh, and he wanted to be considered the pharaohs. So what I did, because again, it's never been found, and there are theories that his tomb is in Alexandria, there are theories that he's still in Macedonia, because when he died, they transported the body and they never made it to Egypt. I took the ancient Greek tradition, Macedonian Greek tradition of the sarcophagus in the center of the tomb, because Egyptian had the tendency of hiding it and put all of their stuff, like Tutankhamun, like you had to go through his stuff to find the sarcophagus that was like try to be hidden for, you know, the fear of robberies and people. Then was so I took the Greek tradition of architecture to have the sarcophagus in the center, and then I wanted to bring the Egyptian part of it, and so we hieroglyph all the walls with the history. You know, we had an historian and an Egyptologist, and they help us, you know, laid out his Alexander campaign, like war campaign, and his life. We put all of his small armies, we plaster them. So, you know, there is his shield, there are all these, and the sky was painted and was taken by, I think was Ramses the fourth tomb. So we did, we had some license, obviously, but that's all on camera, obviously. All the tombs are on camera, right? Because they were smaller, you know, like, yeah.
There's so much work involved.
Yes, it was a lot of plaster, a lot of culture, and month. But to me, you know, if you think about some of this movie that goes into Egypt, or, you know, to me, the fear, I was terrified by doing something that had a statue that looked like a prop. I mean, it was so, that was the most terrifying things to me. It was not even, it was like the comedy of suddenly entering into a place, and if it doesn't look good, is becoming like a grotesque. And that was, you know, that was more frightening than anything. So we had a great department. I brought 15 people from Italy.
Wow. Yeah. See, we have to remember, not only are you going for aesthetic and something to really blow our mind, but it has to be authentic. As soon as it's not, we're just like, oh, we're on a set now. This is a set. And that never felt that way.
No. It was a very effort on not be grotesque.
Yeah. So there's a few other sets that I wanted to ask you about, because I'm just stunned by the asylum. Predominantly white, which I thought was so interesting, but there are certain shapes and objects that mirror what we see in the other realities. Yeah. And that was really smart. Did you find that particularly enjoyable to put that together?
Yeah, one of, you know, that was, again, the duality of everything was through the entire show on everything. But there was a, you know, Harrow's office, Doctor's Harrow's office is an interesting story, because we built Harrow's commune that was all brick with those arches going up, like, you know, taking inspiration from Piranesi, then was doing his Colombaia. And then there is the upper quarter where Stephen fall from the window for the first time. And that was a set. And then we have a very fast scene there, because they're arriving upstairs, he and Lila arriving upstairs, and they follow in, and then he falls through the window, and that was it. So I had these, you know, was standing on that set, and we needed to do Doctor's Harrow's office in the asylum. And I was like, I'm just gonna strip all the set dressing and paint it in pure white. And you know that you are in the same place, but you also don't know that you're in the same place, because I changed a wall and I put the hospital door. But that to me was the moment where we start to have fun with this. So I said, what about if this then was like that at that time? Now it's suddenly just painted all white, and that was just his office, because the hospital itself was a separate set, was an infinite corridor. Then he keep running around with the main room in the center.
Wow.
White was also the, you know, white is also the transition to surreality, or, you know, heaven, or whatever.
Right. Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever, yes.
I know, it blows my mind. Final question is, I think something that's very technical and challenging, and yet we as the viewer probably don't even notice. And that is episode 3, we're catapulted into modern day Cairo, right? And it has to look real and authentic. And you're working with Mohammed Diab, who is, you know, a really amazing Egyptian director and brought so much authenticity to the show. But it's your job to make it look good. And so how were you happy with the way that you were able to make modern day Cairo look so real and authentic?
I think we did a good job accounting. Then we didn't shot, you know, almost, we did plates in Cairo, right? I built a backlot in Budapest. And, you know, when I went to Egypt originally with Mohammed, we went around places that he loved and streets that he loved. And so, you know, I took 5,000 pictures, and then I met a young art director in Cairo, because I wanted to have a contact in order to, you know, get more research or getting, you know, set dressing and stuff like this. So when at one point we decided to build the backlot, because in every job it's not always clear what's going to happen. Are we going to shoot in Egypt, or are we going to go in Amman because we were in Jordan? So it was never clear. And at one point it was clear, then the better choice was to build it. So I called the art director in Egypt and I asked him to come for 3 weeks. And, you know, it was fundamental, because also I don't speak Arabic, and, you know, I'm barely speaking English. So,
you're doing
you know,
really well.
For me, it's always like, am I gonna make a spelling mistake? So for me, having, you know, Mohammed was obviously present, but not in the way that you need to be present when you building. And so for all the graphic and all the last layer, then you do, which is graffiti or signage or post-it of or the way then they go around, that having an Egyptian on set was important. But, you know, you building also stuff then, you know, medieval set, or, you know, I just finished a movie with Christian Bale, 1820. And, you know, it's like you, as a designer, Egypt is, you know, it is difficult as everything else, but also I wasn't alive in 1500. So how do I face a set in the medieval time or the Renaissance time? So that those are the way then you do it. You know what I'm saying? You take in what you feel are the best and what you feel are the most representative. And so, and then you do it, you put them together. Anyway,
that's right.
That's what I do. I don't know what I mean.
Well, Stefania, congratulations on some really strong work. And thank you for your time today. Grazie mille and good luck at the Emmys.
Okay, thank you.